The opinions expressed in this show are the views of the host and not necessarily that of WTRW, 94.3 The Talker, or the Bold Gold Media Group.
The following presentation is paid for by Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate, who is solely responsible for its content. Portions transcribed.
All Century 21 real estate offices are independently owned and operated.
Good morning and welcome to the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate on 94.3 FM The Talker. I'm Jackie Ruddy, broker, and with Pat Devaney, my husband, fellow realtor.
Good morning, Jackie. How are you?
I was expecting that question. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
I am doing well also. Thank you. We are with Orna Klum, owner of Klum Family Farm. Thank you for being here once again.
Thank you.
We're so happy and delighted that you're here with us today. We are here every Saturday at 11 a.m., Sunday at 11:30 a.m. discussing real estate. We have a full-time real estate office with many relentless realtors who've been advising, guiding, and assisting clients in real estate matters for over 50 years.
During the week, feel free to email us with any questions you have at questions@jruddy.com. That's questions@jruddy.com. Or you can give us a call at 570-344-6724. And when you go to jruddy.com, you can either do it on your phone or on your desktop. Click the webcam tab and get a live view of Dunmore Corners and see what's going on. Sometimes it's some interesting stuff, like the guy who runs into the parking lot to change his clothes and then runs out in a different car. That's always, I said, what is he, a secret agent? What's going on here?
And accidents in the middle of the night.
Yeah, oh yeah, all kinds of
and
stuff.
Graffiti on the sidewall at the FNCB. Never a dull moment at Dunmore Corners.
Nope.
Yeah, be sure to check it out. Also, check us out on social media. We're pretty much everywhere. Also, visit jruddy.com, jruddy.com, where you can view our listings, search the MLS for listings, and listen to archive radio shows. We also have all our popular podcast apps that we feature the radio show on after it broadcasts here on 94.3 FM The Talker. Okay, Orna Klum, owner of Klum Family Farm. Last week we talked about pretty much honeybees and the whole what they do, how they do it, and honey is the product that you sell at your farm. There's different types of honey. There's different types of bees. There's good bees, bad bees. You even gave us a tip at the end on how to, when a bee is swirling around us. And I can actually really, I have a feeling that there's a bee, one in particular. I don't know if it's the same bee, but I think it is. It's stalking me at my house. Everywhere I go, there's this bee. It's one single bee. And I feel like it's like ready just to pounce on me when I'm not looking.
You must think you're a flower or something.
It likes you.
Okay, all right.
You made a friend.
I don't do anything, but I mean, I am one of those ones. I am a person that will flail my arms usually.
And scream.
And run. But that's not what you didn't give us that tip. You told us just to stay still, be calm, because eventually the bee will leave.
Exactly.
So if it stings me,
it dies.
It dies.
I will call you.
Yeah. But a wasp will sting you over and over and over again just because he can. We don't like them.
Yeah, wasps. You know, from time to time, do they come in like where do they come from? Because I find one or two around the house every year.
You know, it's funny that you ask, because a lot of people will call a beekeeper and say, "Oh, I have honeybees swarming around my property," or "I have honeybees underneath my deck." Honeybees typically only live within enclosed spaces. Wasps, on the other hand, and some other bees, including carpenter bees, live within your property. They live around your property. We find, and we always tell gardeners, you know, as you're starting to garden in the spring, when you rake, when you start tilling your garden, some bees live in the ground. And they live there in the winter. That's how they, live throughout the winter, and then they come back up. A carpenter bee, for example, which typically bores a hole in wood, only the queen lives in the winter. So she's the one who comes out till she starts laying eggs again. Honeybees are one of the only social bees. The rest, many are solitary bees, and they will breed and do their thing when they need to, but most of the time they're on their own. Now, the biggest, there's two kind of wasps I think that people see, or hornets, I don't know the technical term, that people see in our area. One are, of course, the ground wasps. They bore into the ground and they make their hive, they make their space in the ground. And then, of course, there's paper wasps. Now, I am not an expert by any means on wasps, but I do know, and I've learned this through reading, that paper wasps, when they make their hive, of course, they usually find a little pinpoint and they start
like
making
off a soffit from
right
the house.
off a soffit. They make that big thing that looks like paper. They're territorial. So if you can live with them, or if you dispose of the wasps that are inside, if you keep that shell there, no other wasps will move in. And no, so sometimes another trick that people use is they crumble up an old paper bag and they tape it to their, like the inside of their porch, their front porch, and they won't come because they think there's already wasps there. So that's just a little tip, just something I read. So
I would think I would have to get rid of the nest, like after I disposed of them. I like the way you said that. Yeah. I disposed of them, that I would want to knock that down so they don't go back to it. But you're saying leave it up so the other ones...
You can if you know it's empty, of course. The other part of it, too, is if you're taking off a paper wasp nest, you really need to, you go at nighttime, take a big black bag or something, a garbage bag, but you want to make sure you get the top of the nest where they started building the nest from, because that's like a starter. So if you take it down and that little piece is still, they'll like build again. Yeah. So
taking a baseball bat to it is not
that would be
ideal.
bad. Yeah,
especially during the day.
You'll be running.
Yeah, you'll be like one of those videos with like 1,000 bees behind them.
You know, and help. Another thing too that people. Beekeepers realize, but I know a lot of people don't realize, is that honeybees, though I talked about them going for nectar and, the pollen, they also need water. A lot of times, if your neighbor has bees and you have a pool, they may find their way to your pool. So one thing I talk about a lot is if people like bees, want bees in their garden, are trying to bring pollinators in, a nice thing to do is set up either a bird bath or even a pie plate with water in it. Now, honeybees can't swim, so you do need to fill it up with rocks or even straw or hay or something that they can land on, and they will come and drink there. So that's a really good way to invite pollinators into your garden. If you don't want to have bees or not interested, or you live in a city, it's a good way to invite the honeybees into your garden because they're going to be looking for water.
Okay, good to know. Orna, tell me about your farm.
Oh, well, I did mention last week that it all started with Eddie, my goat, and it grew exponentially from there. We then got chickens.
Let me ask, how many chickens do you have?
Many.
What happens? What's chicken math?
Yeah, chicken math. We all have chicken math, and there's goat math too. You start with like 5 or 6, and they're so cute, and then you go to Tractor Supply, or you get a catalog, and you're like, oh, look, that's so pretty. I want one of those. Now, I will tell you that I have chickens that lay all different color eggs.
You can get chickens from Tractor Supply?
You can. They
don't send them in the mail, do they?
They like the bee.
They do. They do send them in the mail. I have to tell you that I usually call the post when I order chickens. I usually get maybe 25 at a clip, and I call the post office and I say I'm expecting chickens. And about 6 o'clock in the morning, I get my phone call. Your chickens are here. Come and get them. Your ducks are here. Come and get them. So they do.
No, I was just kidding. They do come in the mail.
Mail order chickens. Mail order bees. Mail order brides.
So, I'm going to do anything. I'm going to Uber a chicken.
There you go. But you really once you have them and you love them, if you're allowed to have chickens, they're a great animal. Of course, they produce eggs for us. But I get chickens because I think they're pretty. I mean, they all lay different color eggs. The way you can tell what color egg a chicken lays.
I was just going to ask.
There you go. Is behind what would be their ear is a little lobe. And that little lobe, that little piece of skin, it might be white or it might be brown. And if it's white, they lay white eggs. And if it's brown, they lay brown eggs. Now, we also have chickens that lay green and blue and olive green eggs. They're called Easter eggers or Americanas. It's a different kind of chicken. And then last year, I got a chicken that was black. It had a black beak, it had a black comb, it had black legs, and I had read they're a breed from, I think, Africa, but I'm not sure. Their insides are black also, like their organs are black. It's just a beautiful, beautiful chicken. So there's all different kinds of chickens. They're amazing. They're quiet unless you have a rooster. You do not need a rooster to get eggs.
That's what I was just going to ask you.
Yeah, you do need a rooster to get fertilized eggs. So if you want to have one of your chickens hatch a chick, then you need to have a rooster around. Otherwise, chickens will lay eggs. They lay eggs after about, I think it's like 4 months when you get a chick. It's about 4 months. They start laying. They'll lay for anywhere. They can lay up to maybe... Some of them lay even 300 eggs a day. A chicken lays an egg every 26 hours. They need sunlight, which is why a lot of chicken keepers keep lights in their chicken coops so that the chickens believe that the days are longer. In the winter, they will lay less. And then I let them live around the farm. As long as they're nice, they stay on the farm. No mean animals on my farm. Yes.
So what color egg does the black chicken lay?
I had a rooster, so I don't know what color they lay. I'm thinking they would probably be brown.
Okay.
But there's beautiful colors of eggs, and actually they're all the same. They all have the same nutritional value. I know some people are very hung up on brown eggs, that they're so much better for you. Yeah, no, same, different chicken. So
the taste is the same?
Right, you know what's
Taste is the
different?
same.
The price.
Yeah, the price. You will notice if you get eggs from someone's farm, you will notice that the yolk is a bright orange or a dark yellow. The reason is the color of the yolk is dependent on what they eat. And chickens are omnivores, so they're going to eat bugs and things in the yard. And then the color also comes from their legs and their beaks. So you can tell the age of a chicken by how bright their legs are, because as they continue to lay, they get less and less orange or yellow. Uh-huh. So, that's the story on chickens. Love my chickens. They're great to have. We also have one guinea hen. We had more, but they disappeared in a storm one day. And guinea hen, actually, though they're loud, not good for the city, they eat ticks. So that's kind of a nice addition. Then we usually have a couple pigs every year. And then my goats, which I love. The joke on my farm is if you have a name, you're safe. So all my goats have names. Love them all. I have Nigerian dwarf goats. So they're on the smaller side.
Do you grow vegetables?
I cannot grow a vegetable to save my life.
Neither can I.
Yes. No, I have tried. We have a lovely garden, which has nothing in it except for weeds at the moment. My husband started growing garlic, so we will have garlic this year. We're trying rhubarb, some asparagus, some things that are a little bit...
So he's more of the green thumb?
He doesn't have a green thumb either.
Oh, okay.
He usually goes away in the fall hunting, and then I take a scissors and I cut down everything in the garden and I'm done. So yeah, I'm not my thing.
But you can take care of an animal from birth
to death. It's all good. I'm all about the animals.
Interesting.
Yes, I love them. And the maple syrup, of course, which is another big part of our farm. Maple syrup is done in the spring, early spring. So to get maple syrup, obviously you need maple trees, but we take maple syrup when it is below freezing at night and above freezing during the day. And that's what stimulates the trees to produce sap. So you get the sap. The ration could be anywhere from 60 gallons of sap to 1 gallon of syrup, or 50 to 1. There's always a little bit of discussion about that. But there are quite a few people in our area who make maple syrup, and it's all delicious. I highly recommend you get some local maple syrup.
You sell your syrups.
We sell
the honey and the eggs.
And the eggs, correct. Now, we also do some things for ourselves, some meat products for ourselves, but we don't sell them. There's different cottage laws in the Commonwealth. Anyone who wants to have animals, including honeybees, and during honeybee beginning beekeeper seminars, we talk about this. There are cottage laws. There are rules in the Commonwealth. Not every area allows you to have honeybees or chickens or many different things. It's really your responsibility to make sure that you
are complying with the laws of your community. Yeah, right.
And they're not that bad. I mean, people have a lot of issues sometimes with, if you register your apiary, we register our apiary. I think it's like $10 or $20. And why do we register our apiary? Well, we used to register our apiaries because the Commonwealth, if they were going to be spraying pesticides, they would notify the apiarists, the beekeepers, that they were going to be spraying. That does not happen any longer, though a lot of times if along the country roads PennDOT is going and spraying, they will, if they know you have bees a lot of times, or if you put a sign, they will come and say, we're going to be spraying, and you can opt out. You can tell them, please don't spray from here to here. What that does, I'm not exactly sure, of course, with the wind, but you can do that, and they will comply. They're pretty nice about it. But in the Commonwealth, we have an apiarist, and we also have inspectors who come, and a lot of people are very anxious about telling the Commonwealth what they have. I embrace it. I love when an inspector comes to the house. Why? Because they look and they can tell me if something's wrong, and they can tell me if there's a disease in my hive that I didn't notice, or, so I embrace those kind of things. I think it's good for us to make sure our animals are healthy, especially the bees, because there are diseases. And the biggest killers of bees right now, of course, are mites, which is a disease that it's like a little lice, whatever, a mite that goes into the hive and can ruin the hive. It's like, for a human, it would be like if you put a backpack on. That's the size of a mite for a honeybee. So it can do a lot of destruction, a lot of damage to the hive. So it's our responsibility now. There's a lot of people who want natural beekeeping and they don't want to treat their bees and hives, and now we're kind of veering towards a world where you have to. The responsible thing is to treat them. Though I know there's a lot of people who don't treat them, and that's fine too. We all do what works for us.
Well, there's a lot of areas that don't allow, like, say, for instance, the city of Scranton. They have a law that says you're not permitted to be a beekeeper within the city of Scranton.
Correct.
But I see a lot of chickens, in
Dunmore.
In Dunmore,
I can
and
tell you what street you're on.
And I don't know. I don't know if it's allowed or not. Like, sometimes, people have things and they don't.
Yeah, you should always check. You should always check with the borough or with the city hall in the case of Scranton, and ask what the rules and the laws are, because we always joke in beekeeper sessions when beekeepers talk about, high fences make good neighbors, but you do want to follow the laws of where you live. And people do have a right. If you're doing something, in Scranton, for example, a couple of years ago, we were talking about trying to change the law for beekeepers, because the law, I believe, was that when there were all farms in Scranton and everyone had huge properties, that you had to be 50 feet away from, the nearest beehive for the house. That needs to change. I mean, the bees are not going to hurt you. We want to welcome them. So I would hope that that people look at these things and say, hey, I want to have bees. I want to have chickens. Let me talk to City Hall or the Borough Building and see what I can do to make those kind of changes. It's important.
That's one thing I think COVID did for a lot of people. It made people want to do things on their property. I mean, it was happening before, but I think ever since COVID, it even developed more.
Yeah, I think we should
popular.
I think we should get a goat.
You have to get 2.
You got to
If they're
get
a
2
herd
goats?
animal, you have to get 2.
How about a rooster?
No, the rooster will end up in the crock pot.
Yeah,
I'm
we
sorry
used to
about that.
travel.
No.
We used to travel abroad, and there was a rooster outside our window. Oh gosh, if you ever found that rooster, yeah. But another thing about eggs, we traveled abroad a couple times, and I'd go into a supermarket, and they have the eggs on the shelf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, eggs. When an egg is laid, it's laid with a cover. I think it's called a bloom. I'm not sure, but it's laid with a natural protectorant. And eggs can sit out. They do not need to be refrigerated.
See here,
they also last for months.
Like that?
Yeah, they can last for a long time. Now, when we pull our eggs, we put them in a refrigerator for easy access for people who come to get eggs. But I
was not comfortable with that whole idea.
The salmonella, actually, people are concerned about getting salmonella from an egg, is on the outside.
Okay.
When it gets pasteurized in a factory, or when they're cleaning them, it's pushed with a lot of hot water, and that's what pushes it into the egg, which is part of the problem. So when you touch the outside of an egg, you should wash your hands. That's where the bad part is, from a farm.
Gotcha.
Anyways.
Write that down.
Yes, with us today, Orna Klum, owner of Klum Family Farm. How does someone get in touch with you, please?
You're welcome to give me a call. My cell number is 570-677-7268. You can call even with just questions. I'd be happy to answer them. That's free. And you're also welcome to come by, stop by and visit the farm at any time. So just give me a call.
Thank you. We have a special sponsor, 1031 Corp. They help real estate investors defer capital gains when selling and reinvesting in business use or investment property. 1031 Corp is the middleman you need to help you complete a 1031 exchange. And over the 3 decades they've been in business, they have mastered how to keep the exchange process easy for you. Their exchange experts will educate you on 1031 exchanges, review your situation, and walk you through the entire process. If you own an investment or business property, whether it is residential or commercial, contact 1031 Corp. to learn how you can exchange into a property that works better for you while deferring the capital gains and depreciation recapture so you can keep your hard-earned equity working in your next property. Pat, would you like to review a listing?
Yes, 1031s are very much underused. People don't even think about it.
And you have to contact them before you close on that, before the closing. Because if you wait till afterwards, they cannot do anything.
Can't do anything.
Okay.
All right. We have a 3-bedroom, 3-bath home in the Miles Plot section of Dixon City at 917 Woodmere Avenue for $248,000. The views from this 2-story home across the valley are amazing. It's got vaulted ceilings, a large covered porch, a side porch, and a terrace off the master bedrooms to enjoy the views. This property has a built-in garage, beautiful hardwood floors, and large closets. This home could use some TLC to restore it to its former glory, and the house is being sold as is. That's a 3-bedroom home with 3 baths at 917 Woodmere Avenue in Dixon City for $248,000, and that's listed by Debbie Cohut of our office.
Hold on for more Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21, Jack Ready Real Estate, and 94.3 FM The Talker. We'll be back after a very brief break. When considering to sell or buy a home, why choose Century 21 Jack Ready Real Estate? Let me tell you why. 70% of home buyers settle for the first agent they meet, and many regret it. 90% of home sellers hire an agent, but was it the right choice? Don't have agent remorse. I'm Jackie Ruddy, and I've been in and around the real estate business for most of my life. And at Century 21 Jack Ready Real Estate, we've been selling real estate for half a century. But we do not do it halfway. You deserve better than average. Average doesn't help you. We know it's all about you and what you need. Century 21 is the #1 in brand awareness, is the most recognized name in real estate, and is the most respected in the industry. In this market, if you dream big, you need to move fast. So it makes perfect sense to contact Century 21 Jack Ready Real Estate, 570-344-6724, and visit jruddy.com. That's JRUDDY.com. We're back on the scene, and we are buzzing with a fabulous discussion. The buzz is real, right? This is the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy, and I am Jackie Ruddy, in with Orna Klum, owner of Klum Family Farm. I am so enjoying you this week and last week and all the discussion about your farm and the nifty things that you offer and the animals that you have and your beekeeping expertise. And you sell eggs, you sell honey, and maple syrup. That's quite the undertaking, the maple syrup. Is that a big job?
It is. It's very time-intensive, labor-intensive, which is why it's so expensive.
Right.
Yeah,
I would
takes quite a
imagine
while.
that. Okay, let's talk about the health benefits of honey and primarily as it relates to allergies, please.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So honey is a whole food. It actually, you could live off of it if you really had to. But it is a whole food and it does not go bad. And all natural honey crystallizes. I know some people feel that when honey gets hard, that it is bad or there's something wrong with it. Honey does not go bad. But it does attract moisture. So if you left honey open in your kitchen, chances are that it will absorb some moisture and it could ferment. But as long as you keep it closed on your counter, honey will never go bad. In our area, I know there's a lot of people who like to buy local honey. They believe that it helps their allergies and makes them feel better. And my response to that typically is, if it makes you feel better, then it's the right thing for you. Honey, as I had explained before last week, is actually nectar. It's not pollen, and our allergies are to pollen. Honey does have minute pieces of pollen in it. We obviously cannot get unless you pasteurize it, which is heat it, you're not going to get rid of all the pollen in it. But there's really not enough to cure your allergies. So if people love honey to take because it makes them feel better, I'm all about it. One thing I know in the fall, many people like honey because they will say they have an allergy to goldenrod. Ironically, goldenrod is a really sticky pollen and it doesn't blow in the wind. Ragweed, which looks a lot like goldenrod, is what they are actually allergic to. So that is one of the it's a fallacy, but it's not a bad thing either. So I always say if you love honey, enjoy it. If it makes you feel better, then it's the right thing for you. Honey can also be antiseptic, and they say it's antibiotic, so it has a lot of really, really good properties. I know some vets use it on wounds for animals. I believe you could probably use it on a wound for yourself. I'm not sure. I'm not a doctor.
But it's not a cure-all. It
is
doesn't,
not a cure-all.
No, so it doesn't cure allergies. But it's funny that you should say that. It reminds me of the time that we discovered our son was allergic to grass. Mm-hmm. And his doctor and he does lawn care in our neighborhood. And so his doctor said, just keep cutting the grass. You know,
you're grow
just,
out
yeah.
of it.
He did, yeah, and he was exposed to it, and it's not as bad.
Yeah, and they do. I mean, that is what they say. Now, I do recommend that if you do have an allergy to a pollen, and you want to take a pollen, they sell it in the stores. You know, you can be very, very careful and discuss that with your doctor before you do that, because if you take a big teaspoon of what you're allergic to, it's not going to sit well.
Yeah, it could be bad.
So everybody should watch that.
Right, of course.
But it's great and tastes good, and everybody should have some. Everybody should buy some.
Orna Klum, Klum Family Farm. How does someone get in touch with you?
My phone number is 570-677-7268. Please call. If I don't answer, just leave a message, and I will get back to you. I'd love to see you and speak with you and talk to you if you have any questions.
Thanks, Orna. Pat?
Yes, we have a beautiful 5-bedroom, 2-bath home at 150 Buckingham Street in Elmhurst for $394,000. This home has been beautifully remodeled with modern amenities and finishes throughout. It has new flooring, a new custom eating kitchen. You really need to go to jruddy.com and look at the gorgeous pictures of this custom home to see all of the upgrades. It has a new central air system. It's got new windows, a new roof, new propane hot air system, new water heater, a large 2-car attached garage, and a fireplace. That's a 5-bedroom, 2-bath, beautiful home at 150 Buckingham Street in Elmhurst for $394,000, and that's listed by Nicole Clark of our office.
That's all for today's Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ready Real Estate on 94.3 FM The Talker. Join us next Saturday at 11 a.m. and Sunday at 11:30 a.m.